I can't believe we have to deal with these people again. Alec and Hilaria and the Baldwinos, whatever she calls them. God, I can't stand this couple. They're I've already done deep dives on them. Him on the whole Rust thing and her on her fake Spanish heritage, even though she's like a super rich white woman from Boston. But I've got even more to say because it just keeps getting worse. She literally did the whole thing again where she couldn't remember the name for onions. In December. Y'all, she's still doing this crap. I'll try to put a link to the playlist. I've done probably like 6 videos on them because it just keeps getting worse. That man is like a violent, angry man who also, I believe, should be held responsible for the Rust shooting. And I've gone over why as a former prop myself. I was never the prop master, but I was an assistant to the prop master. Anyway, I can talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about her and her family and like how, especially in this moment, for her to be pretending to be Spanish or okay. See the playlist if you want to deep dive on all those things. I'm going to summarize it. And now they're exploiting their children as if that is a big surprise. And their 11-year-old. Y'all, they've got their 11-year-old selling face stuff. Skin stuff. Oh my God. Okay, let's dive in. If you're new here, I am a writer, comedian, and journalist. I know it's a weird combination, and I have a lot of viral articles out there. And please follow me on Patreon. I have a live coming up on Sunday with Evan, the bioethicist, who specializes on conspiracy theories, disinformation, misinformation, and how it's affecting all of us, and especially public health. All kinds of cool stuff over on my Patreon. Please follow over there. Even if you can't afford a tier, you can follow the free one to keep up with my work. Now let's jump into this couple. For a man who claims to hate the public life, literally bringing a camera crew around and having your entire family on film. Like this is the most, like we already, in one of my mutuals, I'm trying to remember to tag her, she talks about kid influencers and how I promise you, all the children are coming for their parents. They're already starting to do it. But the way that parents exploit their children and put them on camera to make money without their consent. And it's okay if they're on it every once in a while. But these, like, literally, like, the kids are the product. The kids, like, anyway, this is coming out. And what did they do? They focused on how it's just been so hard because of the shooting. The man who literally somebody, it's been so hard for them. Shut up. I'll go into a little bit on how the tragedy on the Rust set and this woman who was a cinematographer, director of photography, whatever you want to call it. It is so rare to have a woman in this position. So like it stings all the more. This happened on a film set. It happened when I won't go into the whole thing, but I just want to mention a few things. I'll recap this man's long history of being, likes to talk. Now, before he had these 7 children, he had this one, Ireland. And apparently she has her own kids now. More on her in a second. If you didn't know how awful of a father he was before he had 7 more. And now he's with this grifter wife who is like, continues to gaslight all of us for thinking she's from Spain when she's just lying about it. And she's still doing it, y'all. And all these, like, I swear, do you have like a birth fetish or something? What is this about? Is this her idea? Or like, why 7? Maybe all these children are her idea. But he said in an interview that she had 4 children in 4.5 years. Something is wrong with you when you are an old ass man and like to keep a woman like that. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of this whole thing. And there is a reason why I'm not making videos on this. But believe me, I have thought. And I stand by my original position a year and a half ago that Ryan Reynolds sucks. But anyway, it's a nuanced conversation. I'm waiting for more information because I have so many different theories, but I also don't like Ryan, no matter what happens with it. But let's get back to this couple who had the audacity to do this, like, to make themselves the biggest victim of the whole shooting on the film set that traumatized an entire crew, and that he will pay nothing for. He literally, y'all, just so you know, I listened to hours of recordings of this man talking, like being, talking to whoever the person is who interviewed. Oh my God. I like that. Listening to him talk is literally like listening to Trump talk. It makes you want to barf. And so I was like, oh my God, even if he isn't somehow liable for this, he sounds like he would be. Do you know what I mean? Because this man, it can't help but make everything about his ego, right? And as I've said before, the producers are always responsible for an unsafe set. And he was a producer. Anyway, let's cradle Hilaria. Let's cradle Hilaria. Because it's just a little baby. Which is actually fitting because she talks with a little baby voice, but it's a Spanish baby voice. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do it, whatever. She somehow talks both with a Spanish accent and a baby accent, which is also a very white woman thing to do. I'm a little baby. I'm a baby. God, I hate the way we're socialized to do this crap. But you know what? Before I get into Alec and Hilaria, I want to talk. This child is 11. People were a little pissed when in December they found out that their 11-year-old daughter is launching a skincare book. Now look, the real problem I have with this is, why are you letting your child do this? Sorry, one of my nieces is 11. And of course she's experimenting with makeup and all that stuff. And like that, God, being a tween and a teen, God, you could not pay me to go back to being that age. It is so hard. But parents are supposed to enforce boundaries and, help kids do what's appropriate. And an 11-year-old promoting natural beauty products and face stuff. Oh my God, yo! I did a whole video about how these Sephora and all these companies are targeting children, girls. They're not even teenagers yet, and have girls drinking out of straws like this so they don't have wrinkles here, because teenage girls should be worried about wrinkles. Like the way the Kardashians and so many women have literally pushed, it's a $1 billion industry for having women obsessed with wrinkles, as if being already obsessed with our weight and everything around our looks. Now teenagers are, I couldn't imagine worrying about wrinkles when I was a teenager. I was too busy throwing up and doing all kinds of stuff because I was obsessed with my weight, because of diet culture. So an 11-year-old is launching a skincare book of recipes for natural beauty products. And her parents are okay with it. I can't believe a mother is okay with this. I'm not a mother, but seriously, what? Look at the name of it. Glowing Up. Recipes to rock your natural beauty empowerment. This is how, oh my God, the way that self-care and empowerment, and what is this? What is this? This is not empowerment. God, they prey on women so much, and our patriarchal conditioning has us falling for this crap and selling this crap. Now, luckily, a lot of people online were like, what the hell? She's too young to be doing this. So I'm not alone, y'all. But look at this book. Clearly this is her. It's not just the kid. It's Carmen and Hilaria. So this is probably her idea. She's probably like, I know. Let's invite a reality TV show into our life and exploit you that way. And then let's do a book together. Because my own book, where I have tape across my husband's face, isn't enough. Now look, I am always going to fault men more for patriarchy, but this is what white women upholding patriarchy looks like. Selling it, profiting off of, God, she's targeting, because she's part of this book, her name's on it. She's targeting girls. If you have daughters, I'm so pissed for my nieces right now who might want to buy this dumb book. And I'm sorry, she's 11. She's 11. This is a choice. This is a choice. And while I will always have more heat for Alec because he has had more power in the relationship, probably still does because of his fame. He's a man. He's got very angry, like all those things. I'm just saying, she is not innocent. I can have heat for her too because she's just a liar, pants on fire. I'm Spanish. Look at this. In the caption, Hilaria wrote that the book is a guide to embracing self-care, building confidence, and celebrating natural beauty, which mine is from Spain, I guess. How is making 11-year-old girls paranoid about their looks and needing to consume and buy a lot of products, including your dumb book, so now they're worrying about it? How is that building confidence? How is that self-care? That, like, white women have been called out for this for a while, for literally taking the word self-care and making it something that they sell to and make $1 billion industry out of self-care. For me, self-care is learning how to pay my taxes on time, all that stuff. It's not like this crap. The wellness and like yoga, wellness, crunchy mom to like white supremacist pipeline, alt-right pipeline, trad wife pipeline. And when I say trad wife, I don't mean stay-at-home mom. That's different than trad wife. Trad wife is literally propaganda. Those people don't exist. It's all a lie. And it's the Mormon church usually behind it all. But there are women who are making money off of patriarchy. And this is what that looks like. So that's why, another reason why I don't like her. And somebody pointed out online, if your child is like ours, skincare is an obsession. It is. And actually I'm reminded of this as I'm watching family members go through the adolescence and all that stuff. Do you remember when you were a teenager and all you did was go to Bed Bath and Beyond or something? Maybe, I don't know if you did that, but like, it seems like it still happens. There's an age, and I worked with teenagers for a living in the outdoors, teaching them all this stuff. And the girls, especially in a certain age, were obsessed with being clean. And part of that is because kids in that age, they smell a lot. Try taking a bunch of teenage boys on a 23-day backpacking course where they can't shower. I have never smelt something like that in my life, and I hope I never do. The hormones and the body's doing weird stuff around that age. So a lot of kids are really paranoid about their bodies already and their smell and cleanliness, and then you have the whole menstrual stuff coming into it. So for them to be like, build confidence by buying products, right? They're already obsessed with their body, and she is a vulture. She's not only a culture vulture, she's a insecure girls vulture. But she's like, she's in her kitchen researching and balance ingredients, blah, blah, blah. She said that she learned how to do this years ago. So your child was researching skincare years ago? She's 11 and just is coming out with this book. Do you know how long it takes to write books, y'all? I know that like a memoir is different than something like this, but still, it takes a while to get it out to press, to do all this crap, to sell the book proposal or whatever. So how long has this child been obsessed with her skin? And could that obsession have come from mommy, maybe? I don't know. Maybe dad's like, you're gonna get wrinkles one day. All I know is the parents have something to do with this. Or they're not pushing back against it. Instead, they're embracing it and like, yeah, let's make money. And put all of our children on camera. I'm sorry, but you put cameras in your children's face, they don't know what's happening. It's one thing if you're like a stay-at-home mom who just started this thing and then ended up with a big platform and then are like, oh, how do I balance this and protect my child's privacy? That's a whole nother, but they literally are like, come on in. We can make some money on TLC. So they got their daughter out here looking a little older than she is, selling this crap. And then, the series, it opened up their lives for the first time to bring everyone in to join the nonstop love, laughter, drama. Which is funny because Alec Baldwin said that he wasn't very fun shooting this. That kind of doesn't surprise me given his past. And also, he's an actor. He's used to faking stuff, right? And so he's supposed to be the real self, but if he's truly like a narcissist, he probably doesn't even know what that means. Tell me what to do. Like, part of me is like, okay, how much of this is Alec and how much of this is her, is her? Because the thing is that when you're when her whole brand is like yoga, like crunchy mom, but like being a mom. That's her whole brand. And that's what I think is so frustrating She's kind of pigeonholed herself into being a mom of an insane amount of children. So, of course, let's exploit all of them with this reality show and, like, let me just be me, because her whole thing is, like, her just talking about her, just being herself. But she changes back and forth between being from the United States and being from Spain, but she grew up at whatever, oh my God. I just can't figure out why they're doing this other than to make a lot of money. And probably because he's an old man and he's like, crap, I probably can't, I don't want to work forever. Now I got all these freaking kids. And also, they're going to talk about rust in here, and I think it's because they are, first of all, he's suing the prosecutors, which, I'm sorry, I used to live in New Mexico, and let me tell you, it is one of the poorest states. So they probably already spent a fortune trying to prosecute this man and, like, and get some justice for... And then they finally just, there was all this stuff, and it wasn't really handled very well, but, like, it takes, I've followed some attorneys and some people who work in that system in Santa Fe, right? And just to try to help me understand, like, what is happening in this case. And gosh, it's so much. But all I know is it costs the tax dollars a lot of money. And then they didn't even get a conviction, and now he's going to sue them. Sue New Mexico. Like, buddy, you should be in jail. You pulled the freaking trigger. You had an unsafe set. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. More on that in a second. Now, also, yeah, the name of these children, that they're all Spanish, of course. Their whole wedding was Spanish. Everything's Spanish in the Hilaria's life. Look at that. Carmen, Gabriela, Rafael. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, y'all. It's been a while since French has replaced the Spanish in my head because I can't seem to hold both of them. Rafael, Thomas, Leonardo, Angel, Charles. I don't know how. In French, you would say Charles. Romeo. Alejandro, Eduardo, Paul, Lucas, Maria, like, this is somebody who is so committed to the lie. Like, and of all places, it's Mallorca, which is known for just being, like, just a bunch of, like, tourists, a bunch of white people from other countries. Germans go there. Like, there's a whole, like, king of my, like, oh my God, anyway. God, I'm sure the locals there hate them. I'm sure the locals hate them. People who are like, I'm Spanish now because I retired there. Oh my God. Like, this man is a professional actor, that's for sure. Ooh, he cried when he got let go. They dropped the charges or whatever. When the charges were thrown out or whatever. But apparently there's the family of the Helyna, like, he already settled with, I think, the husband, but I think her family wants to sue him now. So I don't know. I don't trust the timing of this. This probably is more about him somehow. You know what I mean? I don't really like her, but at the end of the day, I think it's about him. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to, like, he probably is facing maybe a big lawsuit or something. But this man didn't have to do, like, his career seems to have not even been affected by literally murdering somebody. And I'm not saying he meant to, but the producers are in charge of the safety on that set, and everything I read makes it sound like that it was a very chaotic set because it was underfunded and this man was reckless. Just a quick recap before I get back to Hilaria and her ridiculousness. So Helyna Hutchens, again, one of the very few, as somebody who worked on set, the camera department is all men. And it's annoying as hell. And it's so rare for a woman to be in the camera department, right? Because there's certain departments that are so hard to get into, camera being one of them, right? Very few directors, very few camera women, whatever. And his recklessness on that set, all of the producers, and them being cheap is why she's dead. Because little Billy the kid here just loved playing with pew-pews. There were way more pew-pews on that set than needed to be. And again, I'm not doing the whole recap. There's a bunch of videos. You'll see them on the playlist. I'll try to remember to link them at the end. I saw video footage of the way this man was running the set, and he was pointing them at the crew. He was rushing takes. And because he is a big, powerful man, probably the most powerful person on that set, there's no way he wasn't bullying people and rushing them. Come on, let's go. I mean, I watched video of him being like, come on. And that doesn't go, like, it goes against all the protocol. As someone who does props, who has had to handle pew-pews before, and they didn't pay for an extra person, like, it all comes down to him being cheap. And him just being a big king baby, and him being the most powerful person on set, so people couldn't say no to him. I've already covered this, but this is just a recap before I get into how ridiculous this man is. He also had erratic and aggressive, and horseplay, violated so many of the industry standards, are what keep people from not getting on set more often. Although people get hurt on set all the time because of producers and just mistakes, and a lot of times it always comes down to being cheap or some ego of some man. He was playing with his little toys, cocking and uncocking it. And then when he wanted to do the reshoots in Montana, has this piece of crap come out yet? Like, God, that he didn't want to, like, the man doesn't learn. Plus, he has a long history of aggressive behavior. Punching a man in a fight over parking spot, allegedly assaulting a photographer, literally pled guilty. Someone took his spot. And all he had to do was take some anger management courses. He's thrown off of an American Airlines flight for refusing to play a silly game on his phone. Became like a prick. Used against learn towards a photographer. And I get it. Celebrities get tired of like people taking. I'm not on the side of the paparazzi. But at the same time, like, these people don't seem to do much to try to have privacy. Unless they're in trouble for unaliving somebody. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was behind how much hate she got on the internet. Because so many people who know nothing about props, nothing at all, have never been on a film set, know literally nothing about what all prop people do and armorers do, had so much to say about her. And then all these photos are out there. I'm not saying that she doesn't have some role in it, but at the end of the day, you will never convince me that it is not him being cheap and a bully. The only person who served time for all that, despite all the men who were responsible and had more power than her, was a woman. A woman, of course. But even the way this couple met is kind of gross. Like, the way they met was in a restaurant that was actually, there's a documentary on Netflix about that crazy story. That's where they met, in that restaurant. But this, like, how it is so gross. I hate age gap relationships like this, and it's usually a big old powerful man. Dude's in his 60s and has baby. Anyway, just read this. When she was a child, she loved watching Working Girl, but her mother wouldn't let her watch some of Alec's scenes in the film because she was too young. She's like, yeah, when I was like, as a child, I saw this amazing actor, and it's called Working Girl. But my mother used to fast forward through the parts because I was, it's not appropriate age. And I remember I met him, it brought me back because I was not allowed to watch that part. And he was like, my wife saw me in a movie when she was 4. Now, before I get into all of the 7 children he had with Hilaria, those who were not around at the time or don't really remember this, this is how he treated his first daughter with Kim Basinger, who, as a Gen X, I grew up with Kim, right? Loved her movies. And him sounding like a classic deadbeat dad who doesn't actually want to parent his child. They were in a very nasty divorce settlement, with custody and stuff, but anybody who calls their daughter, I love that this was leaked. Of course, Ireland, the daughter, is the one who paid the price for this being leaked, not him. Not him. He has worked plenty since this came out. Look at this. Imagine him saying this. He said this to her in a voicemail. You are a rude, thoughtless little pig. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old. He doesn't even know how old she is when he's calling her. I'm pretty sure she was 11. However old you are, because I don't even know your birthday, because I don't care. I don't care. Or that you're a child. Or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the ass. Doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. Or again, I have made an, oh God, it's like, oh my God, I'm humiliated because I tried to call you and you weren't available. You have humiliated me for the last time with this phone. So again, of course, the child and the girl got more heat for this. People called her attention-seeking, voluptuous, promiscuous, well-off, silver spoon-fed brat with no real job. Y'all, can you imagine being so young and stuck between a nasty divorce between your parents and then, oh my God. And then not only do you have to deal with the trauma of that and your dad being this awful, but then you have internet trolls doing all this, like defending the dad. Now, I love that she got her revenge on when she roasted him. She's like, I love that she was like, a lot of people know my dad is an angry guy, but he's more than some lunatic that loses his temper. He also loses Emmys and Oscars in custody of his firstborn child. After all the years of giving verbal abuse, it's finally time you receive some. So before I leave, I'd just like to say something you've never said to me. Good night. So, I mean, it sounds like they're kind of on good terms now, but like, I need to look her up. She sounds pretty cool, honestly. I mean, he went on an apology tour back then, being like, obviously it's like not okay to call your kid a pig. Inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. They're in a great relationship. Either way, this man has never suffered for any of the stuff that he's done. Even taking someone's life, he has no consequences. But anyway, for some reason, he just keeps having children, even though he doesn't seem to like them. He even said, my wife and I had 4 kids in 4.5 years. Honestly, that sounds so cruel. That sounds like abuse. I don't understand how women can be expected to have this many kids in such a short period of time, given that it is like the most dangerous thing a woman can do. But he seems to be like, yeah, I gotta keep making these movies to pay for these dang kids. I gotta work forever now. I mean, really. It's not even like it was an accident. They used a surrogate for the last couple, I think. I mean, they are rightfully being trolled for doing all of this whole reality TV show for like needing money. And someone even said, shouldn't this be on telemundo? Because that's my issue with it. Besides exploiting the children and it just being like, seems like a cash grab or being used to get our sympathy, so that if he's facing more charges or bigger lawsuits, that we'll be on his side, because we've seen how hard it was for Hilaria and him to deal with all this, drama around, oopsies, taking someone's life. I don't know. It just seems like the man's tired. Like, look at his eyes. Like in this photo on Instagram, she's like, yeah, I mean, he's tired. I made him do this. She's probably like, God, you look like so old in this. You look like you hate me, like a lot of husbands do. Now, why does this woman get so much crap? Just to recap. Well, first of all, let me tell you the most recent thing, and then go back to even how ridiculous this is. Because, like, when you find out, like, about her family, it's like, why are you doing this? And as much as I hate the Daily Mail, they have slut-shamed me for one of my glamour articles. Like, all of them, I can't stand these. But sometimes they do say things that I'm like, or they just have details sometimes where I'm like, oh my God. And they don't really like her. Again, they are like super conservative and whatever. They're super racist and misogynistic and just whatever. Terrible. And I know the right hates Alec because they see him as like some like left-leaning progressive man, but like we don't like him either, okay? I feel like Alec is like Luigi. We accept and not like, It's like one of the very few issues that I can actually agree with someone on the right with is like, yeah, this guy sucks, and so does she. Look at this. They're like, look at her speaking in her heavily accented baby voice. I learned from when I was a kid. About when she was making a traditional Spanish meal for Christmas just last month. They even quote her. Like, I watched that. I'll get a good copyright violation if I show it. She says that the secret to tortilla is his potatoes not cut too tiny. You know what? This woman needs to take an improv class. Did she take an improv class? Did you go to the UCB or Second City or something? Because the way she fully commits to something is... you only see that usually with the professional improvisers. She turns to the person that she's cooking with and forgets the English word for onions. My husband hates cebolla. Is that how you say that? This is the fun. Google this. Watch this. It's hilarious. Because again, she hasn't learned. Just like her husband, she doesn't learn. She got so much crap for this, and especially in 2020. I thought she was done. I thought she was like, okay, let's just forget that ever happened. But no, she's still doing it. Posting them all in their little Christmas pajamas. Feliz Navidad. And remember back in 2015 when I went over this before, when she forgot the word cucumber. She forgot what when she said, we have tomatoes, we have how do you say in English cucumber? It's not like she was like, what's the word? She literally says, how do you say in English? And the thing is that I think that he didn't even know that this is all like a shtick, that it's like a lie. Because he went on David Letterman and was like, yeah, she's Spanish. I don't think he knew. And she's probably like, well, I mean, let me tell you something. As someone, I have seen white women in my family lie to the men in their lives and keep that lie going for 25 years. It's fascinating. I'm like, and they do all this to make sure. And so I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, no, I am Spanish, Alec. Don't believe the media. You know how they are. He probably doesn't know. So when she's cooking this thing in December, I grind the cebolla and ajo. She won't say garlic. And then again, her baby, again, I don't like the Daily Mail, but every once in a while they come out with something and I'm like, it's funny. Casa Baldwin. Then they cite some of the other things, which I've cited before. This is all over the internet, y'all. It's all, it's conveniently in this article. Their wedding vows. Somos un bueno equipo. Like, so this is when it was this one, when she was like, what's the English word for cucumber? And again, her parents are expats. Now, I am an immigrant, and I would argue they are immigrants because they seem to plan on staying there forever, which means they're immigrant. But, a lot of white people like to say we're expats because that makes us different from other immigrants. Some people are expats. They're literally not going to stay there. They're kind of moving around. Maybe they're there temporarily. So the way the word is like, God, it's loaded. But just so in case this is her home. Now, if you've ever been to the Beacon Hill area, I worked for an outdoor company right outside of Boston. So I actually this is rich. Look at this. Her parents, 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house. They bought that in 1987. And they lived there until their daughter was 28, right? So they're pretty new to Spain. But, I mean, living in that neighborhood in Boston with a 5-bedroom house. The Daily Mail loves to take credit for exposing the truth of the yoga teacher's Boston background because her birthplace is not Mallorca. It's this $4 million, 100-year-old house in Boston's Beacon Hill. And her parents moved there when she was 3 and didn't move out till she was 28. But this woman tricked so many people because she just came out swinging, being like, I gotta be interesting somehow because I don't, how do I stick out? How? I know, I'm Spanish. But not Spanish in terms of from another country, Central, South America. No. From the OG colonizer. There's a big difference between from Spain, because I guarantee you, that woman she is removing that Spanish accent if ICE comes to her neighborhood. That is why it's so insulting, y'all. This is why it's so, now you're still going to do this? People are literally getting locked up, you're going to be imprisoned forever. Families torn apart because of this administration and what their number one priority is against immigrants, but not Spanish ones, of course, because immigrant means white, right? But I promise you, she is not doing this Spanish accent if she sees an ICE agent. And this is the most white woman thing you can do, is literally culture vulture, steal from another culture, something that makes you interesting, because in the U.S., whiteness there's an emptiness to it. And I've talked about this in videos. You don't know what I'm talking about, stick around, but don't be like, in my comments. There you are, part of being in the United States. White people had to give up a connection to the past, changing names when we get to Staten Island, assimilate into whiteness in order to have power. And because it's all rooted in anti-blackness and the genocide that started the country. But literally, so many people in the United States, white people, we don't even know who we are, and we become culture vultures. It's not just us, but we, here, they know their history here in France. I have to take culture classes about what it means to be French. Now they conveniently don't talk about being a colonizer as a part of being French, but they know what French means. But I'm like, what is being American? I don't know. Football, hot dogs, pie, military, Coca-Cola. I don't know. And so for her to be like, I'm Spanish, but I'm the colonizer, not the colonized. Just to be clear. You know what I mean? That is why, like, it's for her to be doing this right now is so gross. And she's still doubling down. Now, this apparently was from her MySpace page, Hillary Howard Thomas. Not Hilaria. Okay, I don't know how accurate this is, but this is what they're reporting. People in her life don't ever remember her having a Spanish accent. And allegedly her brother Jeremy went to Mallorca on a school exchange trip, according to one of the neighbors. And that's when the family started to fall in love with the place. And then he tried to live there, and then he didn't really fit in, so he came back. Now, I don't remember all this with Amy Schumer. Don't like Amy Schumer in general, especially the last year. But look at this. One of the former classmates from this elite Cambridge school where an annual tuition costs $60,850 and $75,000 for boarder. So she talks about how her parents are teaching her kids Spanish. The way she talks about her parents, you would think that they are native to Spain, but no, they're retired. Like, this is so ridiculous. She constantly implied that their background was a non-native English speaking. Especially because of this quote right here. Introducing Alec, she said, the third time they said, oh, we already know who he is. Why didn't you pronounce it right the first time? Because when she introduced him, she said, I had to repeat my new last name, Baldwin, to my family 3 times, Baldwin. Do you see what I mean, y'all? This is why we're annoyed with her. She's trying to hide her heritage. I don't want anyone knowing that she's a rich girl from Boston. And she keeps also saying she doesn't talk about her parents much, left them out of the wedding announcements for privacy's sake, but I'm not buying it. I do understand that celebrities want privacy. Even I want a lot of privacy. I'm obsessed with my privacy now because the internet is a scary, dangerous place. But this woman has money and lawyers and publicists and stuff. And she's easily Googleable. And you know what I mean? Like, I think it's because she didn't want us to know that she's from Boston and that her parents might as well have been pilgrims. They're so not Spanish. She finally started trying to explain herself. And people were like, none of this makes sense. I was born in Boston and grew up spending time with my family between Massachusetts and Spain. You know, she was raised bilingual, American and Spanish culture, and she's going to raise her kids that way. But look at that. Her parents' name were David Thomas and Catherine Hayward. Her father lived in Boston for nearly 40 years, while the mother was born and raised in Massachusetts. Both the kids went to private school. But she keeps claiming she's Spanish because they vacationed in Spain. Y'all, her mom's a retired doctor. Her whole career was in Massachusetts, Harvard Medical. Like, these people could not be any more rooted in Boston. Didn't even move to Spain till 2011. And then 2 years later, Hilaria's out there being like, I'm Spanish. Look at this. Father's a former lawyer, born in Nebraska, moved to New York City. Or New York for the dad's job. Sorry, not New York City. There's a lot of tension when you confuse the state with the city. Syracuse, Scarsdale. See, this seems to be the origin story right here. Her father, like, it sounds like her father had daddy issues because maybe his dad wasn't around much. When Thomas was a child, his father went to Argentina for 3 months. That's where it all started, a 3-month travel trip. And he missed his dad so much that he learned Spanish. He said that father promised that he would take him to South America someday for doing that. So he started taking Spanish class in 7th grade, and true to his word, father took him to Argentina, Chile, Peru. So my question is, Hilaria, why aren't you Argentinian or Peruvian or Chilean? That's where this all started. She wants to be Spanish because that has all the privileges of being white. Where, again, if ICE came a knocking, she would definitely not. She would drop that accent in a heartbeat. So her dad basically, it sounds like maybe her dad was like obsessed with Spanish because he missed his dad. And then, then started doing all this. But he said this, my path in life has been heavily influenced by Spanish language and culture. And not because I have an iota of Latin blood in my veins, like straight from the horse dad's mouth. So whatever, he went to Mexico, then he traveled to Spain, majored in Spanish, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Do you have like daddy issues? What is up with this? But whatever it is, it looks like dad got mom on board with the whole, let's be obsessed with Spain. And then she's all like, you know what? I call Spain my home because that's where my family lives. If my parents move to China, I'm going to go to China and say I'm going home. Shut up. You know that's not what we're talking about. We know that you would never pretend to be Chinese. You know what I mean? Like, I hate it. It's the fact that she won't just admit. She's apologized once, but now she's doing it again. What's the word for onion? Anyway, I wouldn't wish being married to this man on anybody. So there's a little part of me that does feel bad for her because maybe she didn't realize till she was already like knocked up with all these kids that he probably sucks. But still, you don't have to do all this. Like, that's me giving her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, part of me is like, God, you deserve this, man. And also, I'm sorry, anyone who invites Woody Allen and the stepdaughter that he married, or adopted daughter, whatever you want to call it, like, and Robert Kennedy, like, June, and I don't know. It sounds like, I cannot imagine having kids back to back to back to back like that. But she's fully committed to being a mom and being Spanish, so that's her whole brand now. They renewed their wedding vows. Like, y'all, why? She's had more than one miscarriage. So, miscarriage in April 2019, and then in November, months after her miscarriage, she suffered a pregnancy loss in November 2019. She finally does apologize for this and a really non-apology. I should have been more clear. I'm sorry, but she's doing it again. So that's the thing. I'm like, you are not sorry. You are still doing it. I don't care that much, y'all. I don't know these people. They could be amazing, lovely people, by the way. But my God, they have so much influence, and the fact that they're selling their children as products for us to consume now, and one of the children is selling products for our children, right? Or children, they're not my kids, but like children I care about. This is why I don't like y'all. Anyway, now they have like surrogate doing all this for. 7. So it's that, and then it's this. I'm going to end on this, is why I can't stand these people. She opens up that they're just not okay a year after the Russ tragedy. I will never feel bad for this couple around that tragedy that Alec Baldwin is very responsible. Again, even if he didn't pull the trigger, which he says he didn't, even though like people have been like, that's not possible. Even if he wasn't super difficult on set from what all the accounts say, he still did not spend enough money on that budget. And as someone who's been on crews, I am telling you that most accidents that happen on set are from an egomaniacal person at the top. The same one with the camera, the assistant camera, who died on that bridge hit by a literal train and traumatized that whole crew. It was men at the top who were like, nah, let's just go around the rules. It's always because they're being egomaniacal and or cheap. So never forgive them for that. But as somebody, like the family of Helyna and the guy who was also injured and all those crew members, I hope they got the help they needed, because to experience something like that, something so traumatizing on a set where you're already being exploited, that they were so exploited on that set. They're driving back like an hour back and forth after like 12 to 16 hour days. The camera department quit at one point because they went on strike because they didn't feel safe. And then their boss gets by Alec. So anyway, the point is this couple's ridiculous. Please don't let your children watch or buy that book. And the reason why I talk about this is we cannot change men, but we can unpack this stuff and patriarchy, patriarchal conditioning, which includes, ageism and fat phobia and the beauty standard, the white Western beauty standard, and all the things that come in with like, and then, all of the stuff that comes with patriarchy, right? And we enable it and we hold it up. And I want us to unpack this stuff together and not fall for these grifters who sell us stuff so that we hate ourselves, sell us stuff to make us feel more confident and empowered. It's like snake oil. It is the Kardashianification of young girls and young women and women of all ages, that like all of this stuff women are doing to their bodies is because of people like that. So yeah. I love women so much that I don't like what some women are doing. And that is one of them. And I don't like her husband even more. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm sure you probably have more stuff. Write in the comments stuff that maybe I left out, or watch the playlist because I went deep dives in several subjects here. Please follow my Patreon. Please be at the live on February 2nd with Evan. I have so many lives. I'm getting an editor to help me edit them down so that I can share more on YouTube. And like, comment, share, play this in the background while you're cooking. All those things, watch hours and Patreon. Watch hours on YouTube and Patreon are the only way I'm able to pay my rent right now. So thank you all everyone for being here, and let me know if you heard that comment song. He's an old man, comment song. Look at those baggy eyes. Maybe you should stop having kids, 'cause you are not a good dad. Look at all these kids. What are you doing, man? Your baby gravy's probably rotten, and you're probably gonna be dead in not that long, and they're gonna not have a dad. I don't know why these men think they can just keep whacking off and having kids. Dude, you can't even have one that you don't call a pig. Oh my God, sorry. If you're new here, it's a comment song and I sing it after every video because it's fun. Yoga mama, mama, trad wife, mama, too rich. What is this? Is this some baby fetish? But you're not from Spain. Beacon Hill. Rich neighborhood, you're not fooling anybody. Hilaria. And look at you with the man who likes to punch paper just 'cause Hillary, Thomas. Crying, big old baby, while you exploit your tween daughter. Both of you can eat up. Seems like adultification. Stupid show. Don't watch this crap, please. It's just a power money grab. And are you gonna speak with a baby Spanish accent? Can you remember cucumber? And this book too. Y'all just cuddle together and go away. But we keep having to watch your stupid, silly life of exploitation. Support your favorite creators and not people doing this stuff. Et voila! Did you hear the big baby baggy eye song?